as we can see here, it is adi, over. You can just say in this regard it means concerning. Concerning the self or spirit soul. There is really no good Western translation of Atma. Some or other, the Sanskrit is better to be used. But you can say, in a way, you can call spiritual concerning the spirit. That could be a definition of spiritual. Yeah. Or then concerning the soul. But the problem in the West, the soul has been used to actually describe usually the person inside the body with the mind. But the definition in Vedas is that the soul is beyond the mind. It is actually beyond the whole material personality. That's actually the Atman, and that's actually what Adhyatma means. It means that which cannot be perceived by our senses. It cannot be limited by anything time and space-wise. Actually, the Adhyatma can only be understood by descending knowledge. Knowledge coming down from above. Yeah. From books such as Bhagavad Gita. So Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhava Adhyatmam Uchate. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying this, that the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. So in that way you can say spiritual also means, in another sense you can say the nature of the spirit soul. Yeah. Even the eternal nature. So that would mean Svabhava. Svabhava means can be something similar to Swarupa. Bhava means existence. So here it's hinted that this existence is not a material existence. This already has been mentioned, Brahma. And Brahman is elsewhere described by Krishna to be eternal and unchangeable, even undescribable. So in that sense, also the soul is beyond words. The effect of the soul is consciousness, however. So, since in spiritual life consciousness is very important, so so the consciousness is it's called Chinta. Actually it means subconsciousness, and yeah, Chitta or Chinta, maybe that's the same. Yeah, sometimes it's called conscious, sometimes subconscious. Yeah. Anyway, it's all the same consciousness basically, but some of it is in the immediate reach for the mind. Yeah. But anyway, the consciousness can be divided into three modes. And that's goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we may have heard this 1,000 times before, but we're still dealing with this. It's like somebody wants to play football and want to learn to be a good, you can say, a person who scores a lot of goals, or to be a good goalkeeper. Two different people who play the sport of football. Of course, there are more different people, but if you look at these two, they both have a goal. The goalkeeper has a goal of that no ball should get beyond him into the goal. He's keeping, and the other one, he wants to shoot the ball in the goal. Yeah. So you have the shooter and the goalkeeper, but both actually have a goal, but they have completely opposite goals. But anyway, to reach the goal, that will be goodness. So it's called to reach the goal. Of spiritual, yeah. So both of them can be spiritual because both of them are, what is their duty, yeah. So you can say dharma, yeah. Both the goalkeeper and one who wants to shoot the ball into the goal, they have different duties, but both of these duties can be dharma. Dharma would then mean spiritual duty, yeah. And passion, it becomes egotistic actually. Yeah, egoistic. It has a sense of has an egoistic tint to it. It's tainted with egoism. Yeah, I can write that. Actions tainted with egoism. Yeah, so you can say these higher goals here are goals for the betterment or for the welfare of everybody, for pleasing God, etc. These actions, you can say, egoistic goals for own, you can say, for personal aggrandizement. Is that correctly? Say enjoyment. Yeah. And ignorance, actions, done in despair. Yeah. Out of a hopelessness. Yeah. For a person who has given up, it's usually a person who was in the passion, wanted to have goals for his or her personal enjoyment, and sometimes it was working, sometimes not. It wasn't work. Then the person may drop down to the ignorance, because ignorance is a next door neighbor of passion. Also, goodness is a next door neighbor. If that passion can be used for God, then it will reach to goodness. Otherwise, it reaches down to ignorance, because then one is so set up to enjoy whatever is the result of that. Yeah. So spiritual life avoids passion and ignorance, and especially ignorance. Okay. Yeah. Is that how you write it? Especially. Yeah. Yeah. Because ignorance is just destroying whatever we try to build up. Passion can be used. Ignorance, well, you can say we are sleeping. That's ignorance. One can. Ignorance is also always there, but it should be minimized. That's the idea. They cannot, disappear, but minimized. So what is the goal of spiritual life? You can say one goal is Bhakti. So I'm just talking general now. And that is to be liberated. Liberated from the material life. Yeah. I can just write immediately what is the material life. It's temporary. And miserable. This is like a very plain definition given by Krishna. Temporary, anityam, miserable, asukam. Yeah, like that. And another one. So I will not get right here to get mystical powers, for example, because mystical powers is actually not spiritual life. I can write right here that actually the attainment of mystical powers what about mystical powers? Siddhis. The attainment of mystical powers is defined as material in Bhakti scriptures. Yeah. So we are coming from the Bhakti tradition. So in our scriptures, siddhis, although they are very elevated, they are still within the material realm and cannot be had forever. One has mystical powers for as long as one's accumulated good karma is lasting. Again, one is falling down to become a normal person, you can say, without mystical powers. Oh, sorry. No, I wrote correct. Yeah, it's defined as material. Yeah. But you can say there is another kind of mystical powers. Or you can say mystical feats, which are part of the which are effects. Yeah, they're called effects of siddhi in Bhakti. Yeah, perfection in Bhakti. Siddhis are also called perfections. So they are called Ashta Kala Siddhis. Yeah, there's 8 features of or perfected devotee. Yeah, but the devotees are not after this, and never after these effects. They are these are just stated to come, to appear. Yeah, and one of these effects is that the devotee may be crying, shaking. Even the limbs of the body can become elongated, as in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Foam is coming from the mouth. Yeah, those are never interested in getting these kind of effects in themselves, but they may come as an effect of severe ecstasy in the stage of perfection of the devotee. But these are separately. These effects are not the goal. Okay. They are byproducts. Yeah. The goal is bhakti. Yeah. Love for God. Now we're just talking general. Yeah. You have so many different practices of bhakti or different traditions of spiritual life. Specifically in Krishna consciousness, it is Krishna prema. So you can say so there are 2 kinds of mukti. Yeah. So one is merging with Brahman, with Nirguna Brahman. Yeah. Brahman without qualities. And the second is attaining a relationship of love with Saguna Brahman. Just working inside the terminology of Brahman. So that means God without no qualities, and God with qualities. And when I say qualities, I mean all kinds of qualities. So these qualities are, for example, to have form, likes, dislikes, such as a personality, of course. Yeah. Just like any other person you will know. Full-fledged personality. God without qualities, it means simply there is no distinctions, nothing you can pinpoint, and thus it is easy to merge with that, but then one has to also get rid of, distinctions in oneself. One is going to be the same as that which doesn't have any distinctions. So in that way, it's not at all the goal for the bhaktas. Yeah. Yeah. So so specific spiritual life. Well, actually, first I can talk about the general, because we also want to mention general. So the general life. So we've said spiritual life, now you can say the opposite, or it doesn't need to be. Sometimes people have the idea opposite to God life or spiritual life is Satanism. I'm not so sure about that, because, well, of course, if you term Satanism as materialism, but if you term it as mystical life, they want to have, magical powers and like that. I don't know. It seems to be just another way, another kind of yogic path to get siddhis. It could be called it's called Vama Tantra. Yeah, it's called the left hand Tantra, black magic, like that. So it will be spiritual, not a spiritual, but you can say a semi-spiritual practice, because as I defined above, from the Bhakti viewpoint, then these mystical practices for getting powers is not actually spiritual. It's still material, but it may be very subtle, more subtle than general material life, definitely. But in general life, I'm talking just on the, say, karmic life, then things are working by social convention, called loka parampara. In sense, it's like parampara means you follow the example of somebody else. So we talk, of course, of a spiritual parampara. Disciple follows his guru. And actually the same thing is there in the material world. Any kind of skill. Somebody is a blacksmith, he's the master, and then he has an apprentice. Yeah. So for example, a blacksmith and his apprentice. In any kind of work, there is somebody who has done it a long more time than we have done. We just have to learn from him and follow. And that person, he learned from somebody before, or maybe he built something new, but then he has pieced, you can say, his skills together from previous practices. He has taken a little from here and there. That way he has many masters. And he made kind of a new practice out of all the old practices. So still it's a parampara. According to the scriptures, you can trace all this back to original rishis, or wise people, who had Vedic knowledge. All kinds of practices, material and spiritual, are coming from the Vedas, like this. But these Lokika paramparas, or Loka paramparas, they are always changing very much, developing very much, of course. However, the other kind of, the opposite is called the Guru parampara, which works by Shastriya Shraddha, and they very much try to keep the tradition intact. For thousands and thousands of years, the practices will be the same, actually. The core practices. Of course, there is always development, but in the original spiritual traditions, there is always a reference to the scriptures, how it was done from the very start. So that may be the difference, one of the main big difference. And also in the social, in general life, you have, if a member of a community does not, conform, he doesn't follow, to what the others are doing, within any kind of group, then he can be ostracized. Is that correctly written? Ostracized? Anyway, you know what I mean, I hope. Or it's frozen out of the group. Yeah. So in that way, his social life is finished. Or maybe he has to find another group to join. Yeah. So his fate. So a person's fate, that this is what I should put my efforts in. This is how I should use my life force to get into the social convention, to blend in, to work or sorry, I was just very negative, but in a positive sense, to contribute to his community. Person who is dedicating his life to you can say material. I will not use the word material, because anyway we understand that this is happening in this world. So to a group may do this, is committing self, that he may do this out of Lokika Shraddha. Yeah. His faith in society, friends, tradition, local tradition especially. So you can see, if you go different villages, say for example in Asia, you will see they have different villages. They may follow what their previous family members did. As their father did, father and the grandfather and the grandmother. And they may worship, local gods like that. It's very common. They have, local gods in that way, in different villages. So that you can say Lokika Shraddha, because there may not be a reference to scriptures or guru too much. There may be just reference to what other people are doing. So simply following what others have done before. So nothing intrinsically wrong with that. However, to practice real spiritual life, then actually it's required to follow Guru Parampara. Yeah. To follow, you can say, Prabhupada often used the word bona fide, and there was a reason he used that word, because there are many Guru Paramparas who may not actually follow the scriptures. If you go back to the scriptures and look, it's supposed to tally with what the Guru is doing. That's the idea. So, in conjunction with the scriptures, which are with, you can say, authorized. Yeah, so then you can ask what scriptures are authorized or not. Of course, in the end, you have to have faith. So faith is required for this. But faith, I would say faith built on knowledge. Yeah. So that kind of faith built on knowledge is called Shastriya Shraddha. So that is yeah. So Shastriya Shraddha would then be understanding spiritual life from hearing and studying Shastra and a qualified teacher. Yeah, so Shastra then is scriptures. Yeah. You'll find probably most of the religious traditions or spiritual traditions, they have some scriptures. So they are divided in so many different divisions. So at least in India, people are accepting Vyasadeva as the one who was behind all these scriptures from the very beginning. And he himself has given a commentary to his large corpus of books called the Vedanta Sutra, and there is establishing actually Krishna as you know, a supreme personality of Godhead. So in that sense, also he has divided 4 Vedas, and then the 5th Veda is called the Puranas and Itihasas, which are Mahabharata and Ramayana, which also is establishing Vishnu or Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So then there is a need of a parampara, a spiritual tradition, to teach and convey the instructions of the Supreme Lord Krishna or Vishnu, which are told in these books. So that's called the Guru Parampara, or Sampradaya is also another name. Yeah. So you can say, in one sense, spiritual life can be all-encompassing. You can have spiritual life, different types of spiritual life. So Krishna is explaining, Ekatvena, Pritaktvena. Says there is so many different paths you can have. You can have like accepting all kinds of things at the same time. You can just accept one thing. Bahu, yeah. You can have so many. Many people are accepting not just one religion, but all different kinds of religion, and they see the good in all, and they don't actually. It's not natural for them to commit to one specific path or one specific teacher even. They take little from so many teachers. So in that way, that will kind of reflect where they are in the. I'm sorry, you can say it another way. Where people are can be described by using a few different terms. So you have these 3 levels of relationships or realizations even: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So in our Bhakti tradition, we'll be learning that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, these are 3 successive realizations. It means that it starts with Brahman, Next one is Paramatma, that means higher, and then Bhagavan is the highest. But of course, those who like Brahman, they will think this is the highest. And they may stay there and be happy there, because Brahman is giving bliss. There's nothing wrong with that. This is Krishna's arrangement, Bhagavan's arrangement. Paramatma is higher, and those who like Paramatma, they may stay there. And Bhagavan is the highest. So, as you can understand, the higher you go, it may be more demanding, or at least more specific. So Brahman is the least specific. Okay. You can put, whole world in there. Actually, Brahman is the whole world. So all religions, all different kinds of spiritual practices, everything. It's all well and good because it's all Brahman, and we want to merge with that. Yeah, that's Brahman. Paramatma is more specific. And Bhagavan is most specific. Yeah. Just like Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, now I'm giving you Guya, I give you Guya Gyan, I give you confidential knowledge. Yeah, like that. More specific is more confidential. Paraguya, yeah. Krishna says, and then most confidential knowledge. So then Krishna says this is Paratara Guya. So comparative to the other, Tara, it means comparatively higher than the previous ones. Yeah. So what is that most? That is Krishna's to Bhagavan Svayam. This is a Paribhasa Sutra of Bhagavatam. It's the most important line in Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah? According to Jiva Goswami. Yeah. Yeah. So in that way, means Krishna is the highest form of God. Yeah. In person. So if you want to be personal to the highest level, you can go to Krishna. So what does it entail? It entails to be very, very specific, of course. If you want to be a friend to anybody, the more if you can say you get to know the person, you know more specifically what the person likes and doesn't like. So Krishna is impartial. He allows, he's universal. He allows everybody to approach him by following any kind of culture, customs, so many different ways. So the devotees, you can say Krishna Bhaktas, those who go for Bhagavan realization, they are not interested in the impartial manifestation of Bhagavan. Yeah. How can you say such? Because Krishna, if you read what he says, he's very partial. He says, I like this, you should do like that. That's partiality. To have a specific, so Bhakta's goal is to have a specific relationship with a specific form of the Lord. Yeah. And then you can say, no, I don't care. He can come with any form. I love him. Then you may be on the Paramatma level, actually. So I should write Krishna Bhakta, because you can be a Bhakta also of Paramatma. But Krishna Bhaktas, they want to have a specific form of the Lord. That's why they meditate on the Krishna Lila, or they can meditate on one of the incarnations of Krishna. For example, Nrsingadev, that's another form of Krishna specific, or Ram, Lord Ramachandra. That's another specific form. But the specificity is there because it increases the love. Yeah. Specificity, is that even a word? The specificity is there because it increases the mood of it increases the love of the devotee for the Lord. Yeah. Now I just write the Lord because it could be the Krishna, Rama, Nrsingadev, or any of the multitudes of forms of God. Yeah. But also who want to be a Krishna Bhakta, of course, they will specifically focus on Krishna. Yeah. So the general impartial manifestations are Paramatma or Ishvara, the supreme controller. Yeah, that's impartial. So you can say there is a great line being drawn here. After this line, we are getting specific. Yeah, because Paramatma is everywhere. He is in every atom. Doesn't need to be that specific now. But with Bhagavan, he's very specific, because he's only in Goloka Vrindavan, and he's also only in the hearts of his pure devotees. Yeah. So you can say yeah. So Krishna's identity is specific. Yeah, he's a Gopa, right? He's called himself Gopal, Govinda. It's very specific. Yeah. Yeah. He's not identifying himself as a creator. Yeah. Controller, Ishvara, etc. He's not. He thinks he is a coward boy. Yeah. Yeah. So in that way, those who go for Vraja Bhakti or Krishna Bhakti is very specific. Yeah. And then we will look at the different practices. It can also be quite general practices for spiritual life. Now we just looked at different types of spiritual life, but now we can look at practice, and again we will start general. That you can say for any kind of spiritual life. At least now we're coming from the. Obviously, we're only talking from the East here, from our Sanskrit scriptures. So, according to Upanishads, it is something is required to have the spiritual life, to get from A to B. From A is material, to B spiritual. Upanishads give a general practice. It gives principles for the general practice. It is really the general practice called sadhana. Why? For reaching the goal, sadhana is required. The goal is called sadhya. Yeah. Can also sometimes sadhya can also be called the outcome or the effect. But goal would be the proper word here, I think. Yeah. So what is that general sadhana? Which also Bhagavad Gita is talking about. Is yagya, dana, and tapa. So yagya means sacrifice, dana means charity, and tapa means austerities. So we'll base most of our discussion on the Bhagavad Gita, because everything is really there. But the basic 3 pillars. Yeah. So to get to the realization of Brahman or higher, sometimes Brahman is also the realization of God. They use this term as an all-encompassing term. So to reach, any spiritual goal, you can say, Tamedam vedanu vachanena brahmana vividishanti yagena danena tapasa anasakena. The Brihad Aranyak Upanishad. So it says that we have to do yagya, dana, and tapa to reach our spiritual goal. So these are the three of sadhana, yeah, reaching, spiritual, yeah. So Krishna, he also talks about this. See, where is he talking about this? Yeah, there we have it. Yagya, dana, tapa, karma. Says you have to do this. He tells Arjuna. Yagya, dana, tapa, karma, na tyajam karameva tat. Yagya, dana, tapas cheva, pavanani, manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. So even though you reached perfection, you may do them still. Actually, later Krishna says, Sarvadharman parichyadamam kam sharanam vraja. So it seems to be an option to actually not care about nothing else than bhakti for Krishna. But at least until that time, these 3 are to be done, and they have to be done with faith. Actually, we should look at these 3 a little bit more, what they mean. So I just put some notes here. So yagya karma. This is yagya, dana, tapa, karma. So the work, or the activities of these 3. So the yagya karma is not just usually we talk about yagya as sacrifice. It also includes then religious disciplines. You can say worship of the Lord, and even the Panchama yagyas. That's for those who are not devotees. Those who are not doing bhakti. According to the Vedic system, they have to do these 5 sacrifices every day, just to be sure not to get bad karma. Because everybody in the day, they are killing some insect or whatever. Everybody is doing some sins every day, just by breathing. By doing yoga every day, one is supposed to be free from the sinful activities, sinful reactions. So then one is, following in the system of the demigods. But Krishna says it's all included if you are just a devotee of me, Krishna says. So that's the ultimate yagya. So you can say, you may think that yagya may just be, you can say, just offering, things. Especially since yagya is so attached to the idea of doing fire sacrifices. But actually the sacrifice done in knowledge inside ourselves, that's where the main, sacrifice is done. And also Krishna is saying that in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavatam, that the renunciates, they offer, on the fire of the mental control inside their heart, they're offering, their offerings by controlling their senses. That's a sacrifice on the fire of mental control. So in that way, we can understand that yoga is actually much deeper than just the external thing. And the other Upanishads are saying the same thing. That actually, then only actually yoga is really giving mukti or liberation. So Krishna says, Shreyans dravya mayad yagyad jnana yagyad parantapa saram karmaikalam partha jnana paris samapyate. He says, O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Prita, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is after that we become knowledgeable about him. As they say, Jnana Shrestha. Jnani Shrestha, the best one is the one who has the transcendental knowledge. So not just a person who has all kinds of knowledge and know it all. Not that kind of person, but a person who actually wants to know Krishna. Yeah. So Krishna is saying what he prefers, just like any other person will say what they prefer, and to go along with that means that one wants to make a relationship with that person. So in the same way, the Bhakta is making a relationship with Krishna by cultivating knowledge about Krishna. So that is telling then with the concept of having faith in the scriptures. Shastra, Shraddha, yeah. This Shraddha, I will get more into. To have faith is actually the one thing that is the most important factor. So the other thing here is dana karma. It means sharing, giving charity. That also has to be done. The best way is giving in faith. Yeah. Is giving selflessly, without expectation, without expecting the result, without expecting any result. Yeah, that's a sattvic. That's a sattvic way of doing dana or charity. This is explained also in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is explaining actually the 3 levels: to give in passion or give in ignorance. In ignorance, one is just slobbily doing the whole procedure, giving in a bad way, even a bad kind of donation or whatever. In passion, one is giving properly, but one is very, very eager to enjoy some name, fame. Say for example, somebody wants to give to the temple, but in order to give to the temple, the person wants to have his name written on a big golden plate, visible for everybody in the temple room. Yeah, it may be for some other reason. Maybe he just want to inspire the others to also give. You can say just in general, the idea to be famous for giving something, it is the passion. Is good, but it's not the best way. Of course, the best way is to give just as a duty without wanting anything in return. One just gives out of love for Krishna. Yeah. And then tapa karma, the practices of austerity, and also the practice of simplicity. To be simple is also a very great austerity. That means not speaking too much. Avoid complicating things. Actually, simplicity means to be non-dualistic. Non-duplicious. It means actually to be honest. That's the main thing. To be honest, then we know we don't need to overdo things. Usually, to overdo things comes out of a sense of false pride. So again, these are all the best way to do all these three is of course in the mode of goodness, and then one will do it simply out of duty and without expectation of enjoying any result. So the three kinds of tapa karma, which are described in the Bhagavatam, will not copy paste the whole verse, but it said here it's a kaika vachika manasa tapa is austerity of words, body, body, words, and mind. So all of these are just for general spiritual life. We didn't even come to Krishna Bhakti yet. For any kind of spiritual life, or to get liberation, one has to practice these austerities. One has to care about, how one conducts oneself physically, with one's words, how one speaks, and also how one thinks. So Krishna is saying that in the Bhagavatam 17:17. He says in 3 verses at least, but I'll just take one verse. Shradaya paraya taptam tapastat trividam narai apala kankshibir. So this apala kankshibir, pala. So not desiring any fruit. Kanksha, it means to be hankering for. So when I say fruit, I mean the result of an activity. So without hankering, that is a sattvic. That is a goodness way of doing it. So those three together, Krishna, that is called. So these three, Yaga karma, Dana karma, Tapa karma, Krishna calls compulsory karmas. Compulsory, activities for spiritual life. It's called niyatam. Niyata karma. And then, just like you can say, today everybody say you should exercise. Everybody expects that you do something to keep your body healthy. And then you also get physical health. And then you have like society now, demands physical exercise for health. Because otherwise, if you don't take care of your body, then you get sick. And then guess who is going to pay for, at least in Norway, we have a social welfare system. It's going to be everybody in society from the taxpayers' money. If any one of us gets sick, then, everybody's paying for us to be in the hospital. So we rather, keep our health well, not to create a burden for everybody else. So to be a devotee of Krishna, one should, to become a devotee of Krishna, one should do this. Like that's compulsory activities. And by having good health, by keeping good health, mental health follows. At least they say so. So similarly, doing, these, you can say bodily, doing these, you can say bodily austerities gives mana prasada, healthy, happy mind. Yeah. So how to get a healthy, happy mind? We have to do these tapasyas of speech, body, and mind. So I just pick out the one for austerities of speech, because actually these are very important austerities of spiritual life in general. The tapas of speech is anudvega kramvakyam satyam priyahitam chayat svadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So we try to do, to mention, the Vedic literature. So this is one of the Vedic literatures, the Bhagavad Gita. How can you say it's Vedic? It's only 4 Vedas. No, actually there is a 5th Veda. Pancha Veda is stated in the Vedas themselves. Stated in Chandogya Upanishad, there is a 5th Veda, which is all the Puranas, and the Itihasa also is included there, and one of them is Mahabharata. And in the Mahabharata we have the Bhagavad Gita. So thus the Bhagavad Gita is representing the 5th Veda. And anyway, these things are stated also in the original 4 Vedas. Whatever is in the Bhagavad Gita, you can find also in the, related. Because this is, compendium or the essence of all the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So, and then you have the mind, tapas. It's mana prasada samyatvam, maunam atma vinigrihaha, bhava samshuddhiri ityetat, tapumanas samuchyate. So this austerity of the mind, it gives sattva guna in our life. So mana prasada, so one should always be happy in the mind. Samyatvam, one should be kind. Think nicely about others. Maunam, one should also, one should not speak too much. Yeah, keep silence also is part of one should be a wise person. That's a feature of being a muni. Yeah. Bhava Shamshuddhir, one should purify one's existence. So one should so that Bhava Shamshuddhir is quite important. Yeah, all of them are important, but I just highlight this. Purification of existence. So one of the practices we do is chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That's our specific practice for a purification of existence, right? And that is also called, because I wanted to find a link with our chanting with something that's mentioned in the Western terminology, and I came across it. It's called autosuggestion. Yeah. So that is from the Western definition, it is a form of self-induced suggestion in which individuals guide their own thoughts, feelings, or behavior. The technique is often used in self-hypnosis. Yeah. So this term is also now used by spiritualists. So then in spiritual circles we call this sankalpa. Yeah, it's the or you can say even in meditation, or even chanting japa. Yeah, but sankalpa means spiritual determination. Yeah, so in our circles we will call this spiritual practice. So sankalpa is a direction given to our subconscious mind, which is more powerful than our conscious mind, because in our subconscious mind we have all the it is full of impressions, stored impressions, yeah, which can get us into trouble every now and then, because they can kind of alter our behavior to something we even don't want. For example, bad habits are lying there because of that. They're called samskaras. Yeah. They gave rise to behaviors. Yeah. So, but the suggestions repeated during the subconscious state. So that's what they're supposedly to do in the hypnosis therapy. I don't know anything about hypnosis, but anyway, when we're chanting, we're also doing the same thing. Yeah. So suggestions are repeated. Yeah. In trance. Yeah. So when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, we can get into the trance. So Hare Krishna Japa is an example of auto-suggestion practice. Yeah. It can also be called concentration. Yeah. So basically, you learn to establish a permanent flow of attention towards an idea or thought. This develops your concentration skills as well. In Bhakti Yoga, we do this for Bhakti alone. Although concentration skills and so on are coming as byproducts. So why are we using mantra? Because this auto-suggestion from the Vedic point of view, we are using mantra to do that. In the West, they may use own-made phrases. Yeah. So why using mantra, not own-made phrases? Well, the own-made phrases may work very well, but traditional mantras are already charged with energy, so that their effects are more powerful than the phrase you compose by yourself. So that's our strong shraddha or strong belief that these mantras are charged with power. Yeah. Instead of energy, they powerful energies. Yeah. Or energy. Yeah. For example, we are learning that Hare Krishna mantra is not different from Krishna himself. The name of Krishna is not different. And in Krishna says we should do our practice without deviating from the goal in order to reach the goal without deviation. So that is called avyabhicharina, Bhakti Sevate. So do yoga sevate. Mam chayo avyabhicharina Bhakti yoga sevate. Yeah. Avyabhicarinya. Yeah. So without deviating from the goal, we should do bhakti. Yeah. So we are still balanced. Krishna says also in the Bhagavad Gita, with balance. So that's one of the important things. We have to practice our spiritual life with balance. Krishna says in the Gita also, recreation has to also be there. Sleep, recreation, eating, but they are balanced. Not too much, not too little. When we practice bhakti, we do it with one goal, and that is Krishna. He says that several places in the Gita, Bhakti tu ananya shakya, ananya bhakti. Yeah. Ham evam vidu Arjuna, gyatum drashtum cha tatvana praveshtum cha parantava. You will reach the goal. You will get all knowledge. Yes. Yeah, so sadhana and sadhya. So sadhana, the means, leads to sadhya. Yeah, so the practice of sadhana, that's the means for leading to sadhya, which is the goal. So sadhya, the goal. What is the goal then? Is bhava. Okay, so then what is bhava? Bhava, in one sense, you can say is the spiritual existence. Or you can say in another sense, bhava, because bhava means existence, but it also means mood. So in short, you can say bhava is spiritual life. But specifically for us, it's spiritual life with Krishna. Yeah. The attainment of you can say sadhya is the manifestation in the heart of bhava or prema or priti, which is love of Krishna. So then what is the eligibility for doing sadhana? Now we will talk about this. You can say eligibility for different kinds of spiritual practice. This is actually very important. Styles of sadhana, you can say. Or I can say just of living while practicing sadhana. That's the best I could come up with the definition of this. So that is called adhikari. It's called eligibility. Yeah, so according to adhikari, we are choosing a mode of practice. Yeah, mode is a lifestyle. So the important thing here is we can't have the same as any others, or we can if that person is similar to us. But basically, there are two modes, and the two modes of lifestyle. That is pravriti and nirvriti. Yeah. Pravriti, basically, Sanskrit-wise, you can say it means practice with involvement, and nivriti means the opposite, practice without involvement. So in other words, they're the path of renunciation. Yeah. Oh, somebody's here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's Mariana.
Yeah, you have some comments or question?
No, I just joined, so I don't know, but I just noticed again at the YouTube there's the sound of the typing, so it's a bit distracting.
Oh yeah, I have to find a way to do that. I think I need to get myself a new keyboard external, which doesn't make any noise.
Yeah.
maybe a
I think
keyboard.
you said something about the iPad or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't figure out that. I don't think it works with that. To connect that, to my laptop. I think I need to get some kind of keyboard which just works by light touch. Yeah. So it doesn't involve any physical pushing of the buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry for that. I will have to find out. If you come with any ideas, you can send me a link.
Yeah, I don't know if there's noise cancelling or something like that. But
yeah, I was using that, you see, but the problem with noise cancelling is it was cancelling my own voice, and I wasn't really satisfied with the quality of the noise cancelling. That's why I avoided it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if everybody else is happy with my noise cancelling, I can go back to that, of course. Maybe I should try that. Actually, I can try that right now. You can see how it works. It's actually not so difficult because I have a microphone attached to my external camera, and that has automatic noise cancelling. I'll turn it on now. My experience with this one is that my sound level is going a little down. It's not as high as before. Can you hear?
I think if connect to the microphone, like maybe you can select the microphone from the camera instead of laptop.
Yeah, I just did it. Now. So here now I will start typing again, and you can see if you hear the difference.
You have to go back to the YouTube because I can hear it only in the YouTube.
Yeah. So I will now type the whole Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah. So in Bhakti, I'll write here that in Bhakti, that is the golden middle road of the two above. Because by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Bhakti alone is the path, actually. Yeah. Otherwise, this is called Pravritti Marga, the path of involvement. And Nivritta Marga is path without involvement. You can see sometimes renunciates in the Hare Krishna movement. They may take an airplane. They may have a laptop. They may involve themselves with material things quite a lot, which is not advised. Say if they're a sannyasi. Still, they may do it, under the umbrella of bhakti, just for spreading, the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. And you can similarly see a person who is in the Pravritti Marga. Usually, those are grihastas, householders, in general. Yeah. So you have four, different ashramas, and householder is one of them. And the three others are the brahmacharis, the monks, student monks. Then you have the vanaprasthas, the pensioners, and then you have the sannyasis, who are the hardcore monks, you can say, who has come to the point of no return. After taking sannyasi, one is not supposed to turn again back. In other words, one cannot give up on sannyas and turn to another mode. Of course, it may happen, but it's not really allowed according to the Vedic system. The brahmachari is expected to go to the next mode of life, which is the grihastha. And similarly, grihastha is expected to go to the vanaprastha. The vanaprastha may just renounce everything and attain perfection in that state. For those who are brahminical, the sannyasi is there. And they may then become traveling preacher mendicants. Extremely renounced, actually. Yeah, so I'll just write the Hare Krishna mantra just to test the sound of our. Yeah, what do you say here? It works. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. A big thumbs up for that. So I hope now we're all happy. And any other comments, please let me know. I mean, we're doing this for you, so I'm not doing this for myself. Of course, it's good for myself also to do this, but obviously I want you to be happy with, this broadcasts. Thanks so much. Yeah, so let's see. I think I'll just come with the last point, and I will open up for questions and comments. Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about Niritta Marga. Yeah, that was one of my points. One has to see that there is some Shraddha there. We need to have faith. Yeah, we need for faith in all this, in our selected practice. Whatever path we're selecting, there needs to be faith to have access to the goal. Yeah, Ashadadhaya Hutam Datam Tapas Taptam Kritam Chayat Asaditi Uchate Parta Na Cha Tat Pretenoya. So Bhagavata 17:28. Yeah, so Krishna is saying there that anything done as a sacrifice, charity, and penance. These are the three main things we have been talking about today. Yagya, Dana, and Tapa. Because basically you can do your spiritual life with these three and reach the goal. Anything done as a sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme or Sonaprita is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. So faith is also actually a sign of sincerity. Satyam. To be simple, and the like. So without sincerity, there we have a kind of split personality. So now it becomes a little psychological. It's actually important to work towards becoming one in oneself. I know it's not easy. We're all starting, wherever we are. In order to get really peaceful in mind, then the faith is then gradually, increasing to give us that peace in mind, and then that also will come together with being simple and sincere, also because one has a lot of trust. Everyone knows it's no need to make things difficult. Actually, Bhakti is supposed to be easy at the end of the day. If you have a kind of split personality, which affects our health, physically and mentally. Yeah. So, for example, stress. Strain, etc., comes from doing something one doesn't love to do. Yeah, we're not saying that one has to love always what one does. We do things out of duty about. But if there is no love at all, if one hates what one is doing, of course that's going to affect one both mentally and physically also in the end. So that's why Krishna he gives us a warning here. He says, anything done without heart. Yeah. Ashadaya hutam datam tapas. We do, our austerities. We give in charity. We give to others. We share with others. We do, our daily practice. We without any heart there, these kind of karmas will be, will not give sat, but asat. You can say bad result. Yeah. Yeah. Therefore, we can, we can learn to like whatever job we have by our destiny. Whatever job, friends, associates, colleagues. Yeah. A good remedy for it's a good remedy for being unsatisfied. Yeah. So therefore, how? By internal practice, because it said in scripture, what we have externally in our life, we may not be able to fix that, because this is a result of our previous karma. It's like a boomerang who came back to us. Whatever we have now in front of our senses, whatever we hear, whatever we see, whatever we feel, it's all a result of ourself. Yeah, we're just seeing ourselves in the mirror, in one sense. These are our karmas. They're not that bad actually, because there are also goodwill everywhere. If we don't have too high expectations of our own enjoyment, we'll be in sattva. That is stated there in the Bhagavad Gita. One can be mana prasada. That's a feature of a sattvic mind, which is very healthy actually, and happy. Yeah. Mana prasada. Uh, how? By strong spiritual practice. It cannot be underestimated. It's not coming for free. If anybody is like that without practicing, you can be sure they have done nice things in the past. Yeah. So we're not saying you have to do hardcore austerities, sleeping on the bed of nails. Strong spiritual practice means what we mentioned before. Be careful what we how we deal with the world. There's not mentioned here fasting, grueling, self-torture is not mentioned. Actually, it's mentioned. The grueling self-torture kind of austerities, that's mentioned as austerities in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. So ignorant and faithless persons who doubt or read scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down, for doubting so there is happiness neither in this world or the next. Even more about not having faith, but also to be ignorant. So to kind of overdo stuff that not needed to do, that's also part of ignorance. In sattva, when we do what is necessary, we because these processes of yagya, dana, and tapa are supposed to be pavanani. Yeah. Are supposed to be purifying. Yeah. So what does it mean to be purifying? So that was mentioned here, pavanani, manishinaha. It purifies, even the great sages. Pavanani is in the plural. There were 3 practices mentioned. So that means purifiers of the mind, removal of all the emotional obstacles. Yeah. And for whom? Who are going to do this? For Manishina, the very intelligent human being. Yeah. These are all very valid. So if we are intelligent, we may So renouncing all the results, these actions are to be performed. This is considered by me to be the best teaching, O Arjuna. So he's saying that in Bhagavad Gita 18.6, just don't be attached to this, just do them, just do them as a duty, Arjuna. And he says Arjuna, he speaks to all of us. Yeah. This is one of the points with Bhagavad Gita. He's not just speaking this to Arjuna, right? He's saying to all of us. This is my opinion, he says. It's my definite opinion. It's my final opinion. Itani api tu karmani sangam tyaktva palani cha parta vyaniti me parta nishchitam matam uttamam. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, also on Prita. That is my final opinion. If doing our duty feels extremely painful like that, then we may talk to our spiritual mentor. You don't have a spiritual mentor, just please try and get one. Because just like if you're training in the gym, sometimes you need to ask, am I doing my training correctly? At least you can have a friend who may have gone to the gym more than yourself. Otherwise, there is a danger of breaking, one's bones. So in the same way, if we just practice these austerities and without having any guidance whatsoever, then we may, we may do some mistakes. We may practice actually wrong. Yeah. But Krishna says here, be performed without attachment. So do not be attached, even to the religious karmas or spiritual life. Do not be too much attached, or just in general, because our real attachment is to Krishna. Yeah. Sarva Dharma Parityajya. Krishna says, Mam Ekam. This is me only. Yeah. Therefore, Sangam Tyaktva. Yeah. Do the duty without attachment. That means that if there should be some point where pleasing Krishna would mean, you can say, like Arjuna was asked, Arjuna wants to follow, the Kshatriya Dharma completely after the book. But then Krishna says, now you just give up this Dharma. This is actually what Krishna means when he says Sarvadharma Parityajya. He says, give up all this Dharma you were speaking about. There's a Paradharma. That's the higher Dharma, the transcendental Dharma is simply to please Krishna. So there will be some Sangha there, but that will be, Bhakti Sangha. Association of Bhakti. Yeah. Yeah, to round it off, actually, there is more to say here. You have Vijaya Dhanam and Tapa. Spiritual versus material. Yeah, because even our spiritual life can give material results. Isn't that amazing? That's the arrangement of the Maya Shakti. And even on the spiritual path, one can get some material, effects. And one can again become attached to the material life through them. So that can be, wealth. It can be, power, fame, name, and glory. So the serious, aspirant for Krishna Bhakti is steering clear of this. Yagyadana and Tapa can produce the performance of Yagyadana and Tapa. Through of punya. So now I'm talking about when we perform them nicely, then we get punya. Punya means auspicious. What do you call this? Pious results, such as going to heaven. So that going to heaven, by the way, is material. Spiritual punya is another. So spiritual punya will give Daivi Sampat. I should also mention in the Gita, you can say Daivi Sampat, spiritual qualities. The natural spiritual qualities of the soul will come out, such as Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti. Yeah. Yeah. So that is, humility, free pridelessness, non-violence, peaceful. Yeah, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi. Completely purification of the heart. Complete clean heart. That is Daivi Sampad. Daivi Sampada. Yeah. So it gives inner, transformation. Yeah. So Daivi Sampada means divine assets. Yeah. That means good qualities which are going to make our life auspicious so much so that we can become spiritual people. Yeah. However, we have another punyam which is you can say in general you can say it's the material punyam. That's usually what we talk about when we talk about punyam in general. So that is going to heaven, getting getting a good birth. Now if you get rebirth, we get a good birth, in a good family. That implies wealth, health, love, good relationships. So great wealth, health, relationships, etc. in the material world. But as we saw here, Shreyan Dravya Maya Yagya Jnana Jnanat Pantapa Saram Karma Ikalam Parta Jnana Paris Samapyate. Which has as a enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pita, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So what we actually want is this transcendental knowledge of Krishna consciousness. or in Krishna consciousness, is the main achievement of spiritual life. Yeah. So you can say even the spiritual life practice. Yeah. According to Gita, of course. Yes. Okay, so I think we stop there. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.